Fear is reality. Are you ready?
Yes.
Your time begins now.
How does fear start? When we're small. Fear of being alone.
With our cries we call. Then comes further fear. Fear of things we can't see. Fear of the dark.
Please don't leave me.
Then comes more fear. Fear of unacceptance.
Do they want to be my friend?
Then comes teenage fear. Fear of growing up.
Is this all I will be? Will anyone ever trust me?
In old age, we come full cycle. Fear in our old bones. We return to the oldest fear.
I don't want to be alone.
Fear of death comes with our last breath, and that's when one comes to see.
Fear is reality. Fear.
Most people are paralyzed by it.
But overcome it.
And take charge of your life.
And your world. Fear.
Can have two meanings.
Forget everything and run.
Or face everything and rise.
Throughout our lives, we are faced with many different fears.
As we age, those fears change.
Some children fear the dark.
Teenagers may fear judgment or losing their relationship.
And adults may fear for their children or fear not being successful.
And the elderly fear death or being alone.
No matter what we fear or have feared, everyone has experienced the feeling. Fear is reality.
A collection of works from websites such as BuzzFeed, Poem Hunter, Poetry Foundation, Family Friends Poems, and TED.com.
And books including Pen Pal by Dalton Arbach, The Poetic Underground by Aaron Hansen, There's Monsters Under My Bed by James Howell, Life Doesn't Frighten Me by Maya Angelou, Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson,
And songs such as Odette by Jim Titus, To Die For by Sam Smith, and Fear by Kendrick Lamar.
There's monsters, Mommy.
Does that scare you?
They're everywhere. Please don't leave me.
In a quiet room, if you press your ear against the pillow, you can hear your heartbeat.
The muffled beats sound like footsteps, and so almost every night as I drift off to sleep, I hear these footsteps, and
I'm terrified. We live in the kind of house you see being transported in two pieces on the interstate, but my mom took good care of it.
there were a lot of woods surrounding the neighborhood that I played in and explored during the day, but at night they took a more scary feeling.
Beneath our house, there was a large crawl space that filled my mind with imaginary monsters and scenarios, which would consume my thoughts.
There's a monster under my bed. I can hear him breathing. I forgot to check under my bed before I got in. Now it's too late. He's there, waiting for me. Maybe I should reach down, lift up the blanket, and take a look. Forget it. He'll grab my arm and pull me under so fast, I won't have time to yell for Dad. I think I'll lie here in the middle of the bed and stay awake all night. Wait, the flashlight won't left. I'll jump down and shine in the monster's eyes. That'll scare him. 1, 2, 3.
Who bought you that? You stole it. That homework better be finished, and that TV better not be too loud if you got it on. You better not write to your father. You know my patience is running thin. If you tell them social workers he lives here, 7 years old and you think you run this house by yourself, you're gonna fear me. If you fear no one else.
Life doesn't frighten me at all. Shadows on the wall.
Noises down the hall?
Life doesn't frighten me at all.
Bad dogs barking loud?
Big ghosts in the clouds.
Life doesn't frighten me
relationships don't last.
Does that scare you?
I just don't want them to think I'm a lonely loser.
A lot of people ask me what my biggest fear is or what scares me most. And I know they expect an answer like heights or closed spaces. But how do I tell them that at 17, I'm taking a class called Relationships for Life, and I learned that most people fall out of love for the same reasons they fell in it. That their lover's once endearing stubbornness is now refusal to compromise, and their one-track mind is now immaturity. Their bad habits you once adored is now money down the drain. Have you ever loved someone so much that fear takes control of your every emotion? Fear of loving. Fear of hearing the words goodbye. Fear of feelings I promised myself I'd never feel again. Fear of giving myself to be hurt again. Of saying goodbye and never loving again. Nothing saddens and scares me like the thought that I could become ugly to someone who once saw all the stars were in my eyes.
Welcome to society. Welcome to society. Welcome to society.
Welcome to society.
We hope you enjoy your stay.
And please feel free to be yourself.
As long as it's in the right way. Make sure you love your body.
But not too much.
We'll bully you for smiling.
And then we'll wonder why you frown. We'll tell you that you're worthless.
And then we'll cry with all the others.
As you're buried in the ground.
You can fall in love with anyone.
As long as it's who we choose.
And we'll let you have your opinions.
But please shape them to our views.
Welcome to society. And one more rule, now that you're here. There's no way you can leave. Welcome to society. 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 Welcome to society.
I stare at the blank page, trying to write the 1,001 thoughts running through my mind, as I think to myself about all that was, all that is, and all that will be. Fear takes over my senses, clouding my thoughts. Fear of unknown, fear of life. Sometimes I want to turn away from this mad world. Sometimes I wish I could do things differently. Sometimes I wonder about a lot of things that I could have done. Sometimes I worry I might be thinking too much. I feel like floating in a deep, dark void, eaten away from the inside, ripped and bleeding, desperately clinging onto life, exhausted and tired. Giving up seems so easy. I close my eyes and drift off into darkness.
I just don't want them to think I'm a lonely loser.
Does that scare you? Does that scare you? Does that scare you?
All I'll do in life is just exist.
Does that scare you?
I want more for my child.
Don't be afraid of fear.
Because fear is afraid of itself.
You give into fear when you doubt yourself. Fear makes you a complete opposite of yourself.
Completely draining every bit of confidence your body has left.
Fear tricks you of your potential. A life ruled by fear is a life without hope.
Of course, people are going to have rainy days.
But be confident and hold your head up high. How can fear overtake you when you're looking at the beautiful clouds high in the sky?
A mother worries about the choices her son may make. She knows she has to let him make decisions for his own sake. As sirens scream, a mother sits in darkness, choking back tears. She prays her boy is safe and calms her doubting fears. At 2:30, beams from headlights flood the driveway. Relieved that he is home, she tiptoes to her bedroom right away. She hears an urgent knocking and goes to turn on the porch light. Patiently waiting at the door is a police officer. She is a somber sight.
Does that scare you?
No words can describe what I feel when I look at you. The glory of your smile, it brings light to this place. So simple yet so impossible to understand. How could anyone not want you in their life? It's like you were sent from a movie scene. How could they just throw that all away, not thinking of what it could mean? An unsettling feeling resides in my head. One that I've been trying to forget. A little version of myself walking around. I guess I hadn't gotten used to that yet. I'm afraid you'll turn into me one day in the future. That's a risk I can't afford to gamble on. I wish for you to paint a picture not already drawn. I want you to have a fair chance from the start. But then I think about the love I'd share. The good, the bad, everything in between. I would show you this life's possibilities. Maybe it could be different if I hadn't seen your baby blues staring back at me, making my choice appear to be clear. But that feeling still shakes my bones. The only time it stops is when I hold you near. Questions bounce back and forth inside my brain. Do you deserve this life? Or are the stakes too high?
Does that scare you?
So many people walk this earth with purpose in their eyes, but in their heart of hearts they know what they're living is a lie. The alarm goes on at 6 a.m. like every other day, so they can walk into a job they hate. All time does is take from them, always waiting for the day to come so when they finally start to live. I'm all too scared that one day soon I'll become just like the rest, only walking with the crowd because my dreams have been oppressed. That one day I'll look back on life and realize that I never truly lived. All I did was just exist.
It is if everyone dies alone.
Does that scare you?
I don't want to be alone. When I was young and my grandfather had just died, I remember laying in bed a few days later, trying to make sense of what had happened. It was like a hole in reality opened up and swallowed him. But then the really shocking question occurred. If he could die, could it happen to me too? Would that hole in reality open up and swallow me? Would it open up beneath my bed and swallow me as I slept? All children become aware of death, and it happens in stages, of course, and it happens in different ways. Our idea of death develops as we grow older, and if you reach back into the dark corners of your memory, you might remember something like what I felt whenever my grandfather died, and I realized that it could happen to me too. That the sins behind all of this, the void is waiting.
Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad. Won't you spare me over another? But what is this that I can't see with ice cold hands taking hold of me? When God is gone and the devil takes hold, who have mercy on your soul, Dad. No wealth, no ruin, no silver, no gold. Nothing satisfies me but your soul. Well, I am deaf, none can excel. I'll open the door to heaven or hell. Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad. My name is Destiny.
If I'm afraid at all, it's only in my dreams. Life doesn't frighten me at all.
I have to face fear
And take control of the situation.
and find a way to make it less frightening.
What you are afraid of is never as bad as what you imagine.
The fear that you let build up in your mind is worse than the situation that actually exists.
Becoming fearless isn't the point. That's impossible. Learning how to control your fear and accept it, and that's the point.
The time is 19 minutes and 18 seconds.